All right, so it's a little past 11, and I think we've got a critical mass going, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So on behalf of Community Initiatives, welcome all of you to our Mastering Online Fundraising, Navigating WeDidIt webinar. I'm really excited that you could join us today to learn kind of all the ins and outs of the WeDidIt platform. We hope that what you learn today will help you comfortably and confidently use WeDidIt for your online fundraising efforts. My name is Lee Wynn. I'm a program services specialist here at Community Initiatives, and I'm going to be helping facilitate today's webinar. Before I turn it over to our presenter for today, I just wanted to mention two quick kind of housekeeping issues. The first is that we're going to be recording this webinar, and we will send a link to the recording as well as the presentation slides in an email following the webinar. You'll get it by the end of the week. The email will also include links to the additional resources that we're going to share with you during today's presentation. So keep an eye out for that. Secondly, we want this webinar to be as interactive as possible, so we really encourage questions. You can use the chat box on your screen to send us questions throughout the presentation. We'll either try to address them during the presentation itself or towards the end where we have some time allotted for question and answer. Those are my two housekeeping issues. So with that, I want to introduce our presenter for today. Many of you already know him and worked with him already, Gian Omedian, who is our IT specialist and really our in-house IT WeDidIt guru. He's been working with projects over the past year since we've launched WeDidIt, working with projects really closely to implement the platform, to get projects get their donation pages set up and campaign pages. So he's developed a lot of expertise that we're really excited that he can share with you today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Gian.
Thank you for the introduction. Yeah, I just feel like we've had a year now with WeDidIt, and it would be a great time to sort of catch up on where we've been and what we've done and what we could do today. I mean, I really want to my hope is to really help you build a range of skills, increase your understanding, and even though we might go over quite a bit, I've created a bunch of 2-minute videos that I think might help sort of get you to what you want to know real quickly instead of having to sort of rewatch an hour-long webinar with us again. So hopefully we can provide you a ton of resources. One other resource I do want to mention at the top, and I'll mention it again at the bottom of this as well, is Heather McGreary over at WeDidIt. She's our account rep, and she is someone you guys can all leverage because she's there to help us, and she will work with you. I mean, in some cases, even kind of carry your wishes over to the programmers and get changes happening. Even I'm not promising anything, but just saying that she's done quite a bit to help make sure that this platform is a good fit for community initiatives and our partners. She's happy to brainstorm with you ways to boost your online fundraising presence. So she's there, and I'm here, as well as Lee and everyone else here at Community Initiatives. So let me tell you what I'm going to talk about today. What I want to talk about is how to navigate the menu and specifically the different functions of the menu. So we have the dashboard, sort of point out some various features there that I think would be helpful. Talk about the campaign page, a little bit of a difference, what's the difference between a campaign page and your basic donation page. Discuss contributions, point out some new developments that are there, and talk about users and what does that mean for your organization and how you can add new users, the difference between an admin and non-admin abilities. Discuss activity feed, show you the donation page and what you can do to tweak it a little bit. What are organizational settings and how you can get in there and make some changes, and white label settings and what does that mean. And then hopefully by the end, I can point to where we can turn on email notifications. And again, I want to emphasize the help and resources that are available. So hopefully we can get into all of that. So after you've logged into WeDidIt it, you'll land here on the dashboard. And here we have a few windows that highlight some metrics as well as some onboarding and features that are available to us. And this is a fixed dashboard. It's not customizable right now, so you're not picking and choosing apps and plugging things in. These are things that are available to us to help us track things that are top of mind. And as WeDidIt sort of sees things happening, they may add or modify some of these for us based on some feedback. In the upper left-hand corner, we have onboarding. And this basically just keeps track of the different steps that you may or may not take as you become more familiar with the platform. There's campaign traffic, tracking traffic frequency and traffic source. So you can see how many donors on any given day and where those donors are coming from. Social media, this is what will populate when a donor likes or tweets after they've reached your thank you page after completing a campaign donation. Features, these are a list of the features that are enabled for us and our projects. And then we have helpful links. And I really wanted to get to this one as quickly as possible. Helpful links is really nice. These are quick links that take you to to starting things right away. So you can view your campaigns, you can view your contributions, you can check out the Help Center. And the Help Center is really nice. If you click on the Help Center, it'll open up another tab, and it looks like this. And I wanted to point this out real quickly because this is an easily modifiable Zendesk that WeDidIt maintains for us in our chapters. And for example, a lot of times I get questions as to what do donors automatically receive every time they make a donation? And it's the third one down right here. You would click it to expand it, and you can see right away payment authorization, a payment confirmation email, and a tax receipt, as well as examples for what your donor will see. And this is just a great way to just sort of see what is out there and what's available. And I know that many of our executive directors are very busy, and spending time pining through a help center is not helpful. So WeDidIt also has this really awesome live chat, and they are available and they will answer your questions, even if it's already written in the help center. And it's really nice because they're there for me right away. And this morning I was chatting with an individual over there. One thing I do want to point out, though, is that since WeDidIt is located on the East Coast, they're usually closing the chat window around 2 p.m.-ish California time. But it turns into an email window, and I've noticed that they get back right away. So it's helpful. And again, it's just another nod to how many different available resources we have available to us. So moving on. When we land on our dashboard, we have our main menu in the upper left-hand corner. And when you click on that, that's where you can kind of go into the different places within the WeDidIt platform. So let's move on to campaigns. Within the campaigns, you see we have a few tabs. We have current, pending, past. You have a bit of data that can show here, and I created a PowerPoint slide that has a bit of data in it for us to see. This one is from Palomacy. Elizabeth was kind enough to let me use her data, and I grayed out some of the contribution amounts because she's just making so much over there. I'm kidding. Anyway, so what you see is you see the name of the campaign and you see the end date. And that is the real big difference between campaign pages and your basic donation page. Think of your basic donation page as a static web page. It never changes. I mean, you can change the content, but it doesn't have a start date and an end date. And that's really the big difference between them. When you want to create a new campaign, you would just, log into WeDidIt, click on the dashboard, click on campaigns, and then click on new campaign. And it'll take you to a wizard, and you will just fill out the boxes and walk yourself through. And hopefully at the end, you end up with something that looks a bit like this. This is an example of a campaign page. You can see it's different than a basic donation page, and I will show you that right here. A basic donation page really consists of these three main boxes, whereas the campaign page has the donate button at the top. It has the goal amount and then a meter to track how close you're getting to your goal. And what's also nice within the campaign page is you have the ability to do peer-to-peer fundraising and to kind of emphasize the ability to reach out to these helpful resources and collaborate. And a good example would be one of our other partners, Peer Resources. They wanted to do a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign, and they wanted to create a healthy competition, but they wanted to have a way so that you can view those people competing against each other and sort of make it fun and to see how people are doing. And with that, and working with Heather over at WeDidIt, they were able to create a solution for that. And so now they have this ability to sort of line up your peer-to-peers so that you can see, them matching goals against each other. I think that's kind of a pretty cool option, especially when you start tying in the ability to do all of this, campaign building and create money for a good reason, right? Or raise money for a good reason. So moving on and getting back to the main menu, you click on this campaigns up here, and let's go to contributions. Now, contributions are really nice. So this is the page where you will get all real-time donations. So as soon as a donation is made, it's passed through here as it goes through the payment processor. And you can see right here, you can drill down to just looking at a specific campaign, or if you like, you can just look at your basic donation page, or you can combine them all together, all campaigns and all donations in one view. You can drill down to just look at reoccurring donations and omit just the one-offs. This field is the start date, and this field is the end date. And I just want to point out that when you click on the start date, please click on an actual date. So I've noticed that sometimes people scroll to the month and then they'll click over here, but it didn't capture that month date. And again, I created another PowerPoint slide that would allow us to see an example of that with some data. Using Elizabeth over at Palomacy again, you can see that we collect the date that the donation was made. The campaign title refers to whether or not it was one of those campaigns, and this one was done on the basic donation page. That's what open campaign means. It will give you the username, the donation amount, and state. And so there are various states that a donation is sort of qualified as when it comes in. Collected means the donor has been successfully charged and the donation has been processed, and yay, we can move forward. There's also authorized, pending collection, canceled, and refunded. And a more in-depth explanation can be found on that Zendesk, that help file. So if you wanted to, you could download a CSV of this data, and this is really just a top view, a summary. So if you download the CSV, it would be the same as if I were to click on this little green plus sign, and then it would expand the record. And here you can see the email, whether or not the donor decided to cover the fee, was it a reoccurring donation, what was the first time the reoccurring donation happened, and how many of those donations have been made so far. You can see that under this project, we're collecting physical addresses. And I want to point that out because by default, all the donation pages, your basic donation pages and your campaign pages are just set up to collect email address. So if you would like to collect physical addresses, I'll show you how to do that a little bit later on here in this webinar. If I were to scroll down, you would see that we have, you see the WeDidIt fee, the WePay fee, and then these two cool little buttons down here near the bottom. We have resend email, and we also have the ability to refund that donation if we wanted to, which we never want to. But anyways, to focus on the resend email, if you had a donor that said, I made a donation, but I never received my tax receipt, or something like that, you have the ability to come in, log into your platform, go to contributions, find that record, and verify that email address. If the email address is correct, you can hit the resend email button and it'll send that tax receipt right off to them again. So going back to our main menu, our contributions, we can move down to users. And I'm going to skip over donor records. I will mention it, and just to say that if you're interested in tracking sort of donor habits or donor metrics, please reach out to Heather. And again, I'm going to give you guys her email address at the end here, but she can help you sort of build on that and build metrics that apply to that. Moving into users, this is where you can see all of the users that have the ability to log into this dashboard specifically for my organization. So yours might be a shorter list. Yours might even have that default that I had made in order to set up your WeDidIt campaign page or donation page, and you can delete that. And that's an admin feature as well. But if you wanted to create a new user, you would hit the sub menu here for users. You would click new, and you would just fill out the first name, last name, email address, and then decide whether or not you want that individual to be an admin. Another difference between admin and non-admin privilege is that an admin can modify campaign pages and your basic donation page, whereas a non-admin cannot. So it can kind of limit the ability of a user to come in and do certain things. I am not going to talk about associate. I don't want you to worry about this. This was something that WeDidIt created to help us do a lot of onboarding. And if you have an account with another chapter within WeDidIt, this is what we would use to kind of bridge it and give the two to you. But let's not worry about that. Going back to the main menu, let's talk about activity feed really quickly. So this is a new feature, and this allows admins or basically a monitoring of what's going on and what was last done in your site. And one of the last things I did was invite a new user to come and join our platform on our end, and you see it like highlights it here. And so this has two purposes. One, it allows you to sort of see what was the last thing done. Did someone pull the right reports or those kind of things? But it also gives WeDidIt a chance to sort of see how the platform is being used and to make it better for us. Going back up to the main menu, I'll go down to the donation page. Now this is your static donation page, and this is the widget or WYSIWYGs as you were. You can fill these out, and these fill out, as an example, these boxes. You can add pictures. You can change the donation amounts. You can toggle. I apologize, but this is where you add all of this information in, and you do it through this page right here. Going back to our main menu, I wanted to go down to organization settings. And I'm skipping over chapters because being community initiatives, we have that ability to see that, but I don't think that you have that per your chapter, and so it doesn't matter. When you go down to org settings, this is where you can toggle on or off the ability to collect physical addresses from your donors. And one of the reasons that WeDidIt made it a default to not collect physical address was to make it a bit faster to get through this screen. So I would put my first name, last name, email address, and then I'd get to go next. But over at Palomacy, they really like to reach out and touch their donors one by one. So they really want to make sure that they're collecting physical addresses so they can do so. And this is where you can toggle that on and off. You can toggle on and off some other functions as well as honoree input. You can toggle on and off the ability to allow a donor to cover your transaction fee. This data here, this picture shows up on your tax receipt, and this description or mission statement will show up on when WeDidIt will feature you, as well as this picture. And here's where you would put in the social media information like Facebook, your Twitter, or your website. You can put in your physical address and things like that. And then down here, you'll see something about white labeling. And let me talk about white labeling for a quick second here. Scroll to the top and go to my main menu. And I'm going to go down to white label settings. And this is where you can make some modifications to how little tiny things look on your website. And I created a really cool 2-minute video that shows you how to change that white label accent color so that you can match it to your own branding color. I've also want to point out this white label subdomain. This right here is another way to get your URL to your basic donation page. You would just copy that, paste that in the address bar, and type in WeDidIt afterwards and hit enter, and you've got your URL for your basic donation page. And as a reminder, when you're on your dashboard, that main screen at the beginning, you can also get that same URL by clicking here, your donation page. One more thing I'd like to point out, and we have our main menu over here. Then we have a submenu over here that's specific to the user, and you can see I have user settings. My dashboard takes me back to this dashboard. User settings, I don't believe you guys have to worry about billing and help, of course, we've seen that, and contact us is another way to get a hold of the folks over at WeDidIt. But user settings is where, and I think you guys will like this, you have a number of fields that you can add information if you like. You do not need to put in your address or your phone number and things like that, but you do need to put your first name, your last name, and your email address. Your email address is your username when you sign in. Down here, you can change your password if you like. And then this is the one that I get asked a lot of questions about too. A lot of times our projects want to receive an email notification every time a donation is made. And this is where you can make that happen. You click on that box and you click update. But just to remind you or to let you know that this setting is only for this user. So it's not a global setting, meaning it's not going to go across the board for every single member in your organization. It has to be set per user. And so that's sort of the basics of the WeDidIt platform. I'm hoping that I've increased your understanding of it a bit and explained a couple of things about it. And we have Heather McGreary, and I'll greet you, and I'll give you her email address here in a second. There is myself as well as your project team coordinator as well. So we've got a lot of people here to help, and I've created a couple of 2-minute tips and trick video that I'll also send you the link for so that you can see these as well as many others that I've created that'll just help you sort of drill down and just do what you want to do right away instead of having to, sort of pine through that help desk or do this long webinar again. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Cool. Well, thanks, Jan. Very helpful information. So please, if you have questions, send them in via the chat feature. We're here to collect. We have plenty of time to address additional questions. A couple that came in while you were presenting, Jan, that I think are fairly quick. Is there a limit to how many users I can add to my chapter's WeDidIt account?
Right now, nobody's hit that limit, and so I believe there is no limit. So you can see on our dashboard and our users that we have like well over 10, I think, and I haven't run into that wall yet, but I would say no.
And I see that Heather actually over at WeDidIt is confirming that there's no limit to the number of users. Great. Can you tell us what the WeDidIt fees are?
Yeah, so there are 2 fees because WeDidIt is one part of the payment processor. So WeDidIt is 2.75 plus 30 cents. No, I'm sorry, the other way around. WeDidIt is 0.75, and the WePay processing fee is 2.75 plus 30 cents.
Great. I've got a question here. Could you please walk us through how to see all of the recurring donations info?
Sure. So right now, unfortunately, I don't have any data because Community Initiatives doesn't receive any donations. So I'll show you in a sense, how to get there and how to pull that out yourself. So you would sign into your dashboard, and then you come up to the main menu, and then you would click on contributions, and then you would set the date. So reoccurring contributions have been tracked since, say, February. So that's about as far back as you can really go. So let's go, I don't know, February 18th. We can go till now, and we'll hit update. So this would first have showed me all contributions. If I click reoccurring, it would filter out and just show me just the reoccurring donations that have happened. And I'm going to go back to that PowerPoint slide. I'm going to show you where you can see some specific information. So here on that contribution page, when we have data, if the state here says authorized, that more than often refers to the fact that it's been reoccurring. But you can see right here too on the drop down, it says reoccurrence, and right now it's null because it's not a reoccurring donation, but it would say yes here. And then it would tell you the first time that that reoccurring donation happened, and then it will tell you the total number of times that that reoccurring donation has happened in total right here. I hope that answers the question.
I was on mute. So if that doesn't answer your question, please feel free to follow up and send additional questions. I've got a two-part question here for you, Gian. First part is, do you have to set up an individual campaign to receive donations? Second part, if not, what's the advantage of setting up a campaign?
Okay, so to the first question, no, you do not need to set up a campaign in order to receive donations. What's nice about this platform with WeDidIt is that everyone is given a basic donation page. And so by default, it's always available. So if you see, I clicked on the main menu, and then I scrolled down the donation page. This donation page is always there. And what I didn't point out first is here are analytics just for that basic donation page. When you want to make changes to it, you would click settings, and here you get to make all the changes you want to your basic donation page. And I like to call this static because it doesn't change. It doesn't have an end date, and it can stay there for as long as you like. An example of a WeDidIt basic donation page is right here. And you can see that Palomacy has done what's also called white labeling, and I'll address that in a second. But to answer your question, you don't need a campaign page in order to get donations. So to answer the second part of your question, if you don't need a campaign page, what is it good for? There's many reasons why I think campaign pages are nice, because you have your basic donation page, you have a static page that's connected to your website where donors can make a donation all year round. But now you have the ability, and I'm at the main menu again, and I'm going to click on campaigns. Now I have the ability to create a campaign for a one-off event. So let's say I want to raise money to for a gala event that I'm hosting, and I want to collect donations at that gala event. I can create a campaign specifically for that. And as an example of what a campaign page looks like, again, I'll bring you over here. You can see that I can set a goal, and it has, and again, campaigns have an end date. So they have a start date and an end date. And the whole idea is to sort of build a lot of hoopla around this one sort of push you're doing for a very specific and not to be redundant, but campaign that you would like to run. And I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think also, the other, as you pointed out, Gian, is that you can show progress. So if you have a very specific goal, it's nice sometimes for donors to see, oh, if I make that $50 donation, I'm going to help this organization meet their goal. So that could be kind of a different way of appealing to your donors.